Absolutely, man. It feels like every time we get to the Gamecock topics, bro, something always finds a way to interrupt it. But not
Yeah.
today. Today it's not happening today. We about to get to it, and we were talking about it in the pre-show. Nick Harper
Mhm.
qualifying for the NCAA. What is it? The NCAA qualifiers for track and field. Um,
Mhm.
had a great showing so far. He's gonna have a chance to then compete for the Olympics as well to be able to make the USA team. Um,
Mhm.
Gotta ask you, Mac. I know you've been monitoring the situation for a while. I mean, where do we think the prospects are for him to play? When do we think we first see him this season? And overall, what would have been your thoughts about how this his tenure at South Carolina has gone in terms of what he was promised and what's happened thus far here in South Carolina?
Man, a lot of people is really. I was eager for him last year, honestly, but just learning that Neek wanted to play on the offense, because I thought originally he was going to either play on the D line on the defensive end. I thought he at least going to be on the defensive end, and I thought he at least going to be a tight end as well if he would have played offense, which he decided to do wide receiver, and he was limited, with the track last year as well, what I'm saying? And, that's one of the key things what got him landed him here. Beam said in the press conference as well, like he wanted to do track. He understand that's his dream to also do track as well and play football. So, that you got to stick to your promise. You got to stick to your promise, man. That's the only thing, and that's the best way Beam can get recruits, track stars like that here to South Carolina. And I think once Nick is ready, he's going to make a difference on the field. But the question is, when will we see Nick on the field? And I just August 31st, you're asking too much. I think if Nick is to make it to the Olympics, I think it's sometime in the middle of August. It's like that whole week. Probably give him like a week or so, week and a half. You asking him, a week and a half to be out there for Old Dominion, which I know is he's not out there taking the reps at practice. So you know what I'm saying. So it's just maybe when he's, what I'm saying, we up big on Old Dominion, maybe he come on in, get some reps in, game reps. But after that, I think we got Kentucky second game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, yeah, it is Old Dominion, then Kentucky. So the first month, right? The first month is Old Dominion, Kentucky, LSU, and then Akron, and then we have a bye week, and then we open up October with Ole Miss at home.
Yeah, October 5th. I got the schedule pulled up right here. October 5th, Ole Miss, Bama, Oklahoma. That's three, man.
Yeah, it's a murder's row. That October, boy. Good God.
Yeah, man. Ole Miss, man, that's gonna be tough. I do like the fact it is a home game, and a lot of people, back in I think 2009, that's when Sandstorm started against Ole Miss in a night game. So I mean, hey, it's gonna be a big fight field. Certain someone is making his return who will never say his name on this podcast.
Look,
Then we
man.
got the Tide. Then we got the Tide next, October 12th. Then we got Oklahoma, yeah, to A&M. Then we got Vanderbilt, yeah.
Look, man. And just to make a point, like with Nick Harper probably not going to play, like you said, until October. And like we said before in the pre-show, if you can't get through Old Dominion, Kentucky, LSU, and Akron as currently constructed, we just talked about how LSU before there is no Jane Daniels. Malik Neighbors is gone. Brian Thomas Jr. is also gone. Now we do respect what they do in recruiting because they do a great job of recruiting their home state, and we understand the type of athletes that come from the state of Louisiana. There's another kid sitting there waiting to be the next great LSU wide receiver. But honestly, if you can't figure out a way to get at least 3 wins out of that first month, then you got bigger problems than just Nick Harper. How you recruited thus far to how has your recruiting gone to this point if you don't have any depth to be able to show that, hey, we can still survive without him? And that goes to the point of guys like we talked about before, Tashawn Russell, a guy that, a freshman last year, showed flashes alongside Lenore Sellers and Nick Harper when they all got their time to play together. does he take the next step? That's a guy who I'm big on. I'm hopeful that he takes the next step because if you have him, then you have a guy like Mazeo Bennett that hopefully can have an impactful freshman year. I mean, you're talking about like I'm for Mazeo Bennett. I'm only looking for about like give me 500 yards and maybe 3 to 4 touchdowns, and that's a successful freshman campaign for me. If you're Mazeo Bennett, and if you can get those types of contributions from those guys, can you prove that the guys you've recruited can be high level players in the SEC? That's the next step for Shane Beamer because we've seen him have the remnants of the Muschamp crew. Those guys have gone on. They've made it. They've made it to the league, but that's kind of what we've known to be the case for Muschamp and the players he recruits. Beamer's got to prove that his guys can continue that same trend of being able to be contributing players in the SEC and to be able to go on and to have successful NFL careers. Because, like you said, I think what he's done with Nick has been good for in terms of PR on the outside looking in for recruits. Like, hey, if you come here, we stick to our promises here. Whatever we promise you at from the day we recruited you is what you're gonna get, and like I said, that's a great sign. It's great to be able to help retain players, even if we don't have the largest NIL funds to pay you. Maybe that realness of what you see is what you get may be enough for us to keep and get great players to come here to the University of South Carolina. So, I mean, once we get into that second part of the schedule, though, this is where we find out whether you've taken a step forward as a head coach. Because, like you said, Ole Miss to open up the month of October, Alabama, Oklahoma, Texas A&M. Hey, this is where you start to prove like we're not just a team that just feasts on the bottom remnants of the SEC. We can play up to a certain level, and we can go on the road and possibly get a win out of Oklahoma, right? Like you can get a big win at home versus Ole Miss, and you can compete. And can you compete with Alabama at this current state in time? I mean, look, the SEC it's not wide open, but it's a lot. But it looks a lot different with no Nick Saban in the building now in Tuscaloosa. You gotta have some type of thought process of like, hey, but we got to get it done. There can't be any more of this. We just got to be close. At some point we do have to take this step forward. We got to see some signature wins for Shane Beamer in like this season in SEC play.
I agree. I agree 100%. It's like you said, that signature win. Can Beam get that signature win in Tuscaloosa? Which that would look beautiful on him. That would be beautiful on the extension talks. You know what I'm saying? I think the signature wins for Beam this year, I want to say Oklahoma. That's his old stomping grounds. I want to say, actually throw Ole Miss in there as well. Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Bama, Mizzou, and then the ops in Pickens County. Those are the wins that Beam has to get done, man. It has to happen. It just has to. If he can get 4 out of those 5, I'm cool with it. I'm not expecting a lot this year. It's just we still don't know with our guy Lenoris just yet. But I feel like good things will happen with him. Defense should be improved, man. Defense should be improved. As long as the defense can just fight, man, I promise you, I think that we can be at least a good 8-14, 9-3 team. The ceiling, 9-3. That'd be the ceiling for me. And then improve then and so on and so forth. So, without Neek, you know what I'm saying? Without Neek, we just got to get it rolling. We got to get it rolling. I think that's why Beam was so heavy in the transfer portal, bringing in guys, my man from Coastal, then my man from Louisville. They say he's showing out. Then my man from Miami, also Miami, Ohio, he's showing out as well. Yes. Then we got Zio. Then you got our guy Tyshawn Russell, who we big on as well, man. Like I think this wide receiver room is it's underrated. I feel like we got a very underrated group, and I think we got the leading receiver from Nevada as well. So this is an underrated group.
And not only that, we have to understand that this is the quarterback we're about to have start for South Carolina this year is different than any other quarterback we've seen. This is not Steven Garcia. This is not Connor Shaw. This is not This is not Spencer Rattler. This is a elite athlete at the quarterback position that I believe has high level skill as a passer. I can only base it off of the small sample size we got this year and what I saw from him in high school. And I'll continue to say it. I said it on the previous iteration of the channel. This kid, for me, was the best quarterback I've ever seen play in the state of South Carolina in high school football in terms of the love, the arm strength, the level of touch, the sense of how knowing when and where to place passes for your first receivers, even at the high school level. And again, his ability as a runner. I believe his ability as a runner is going to be something that like it's not necessary for his game for him to be successful. But the fact that we haven't had a true dual threat like this that I feel like can actually play the quarterback position at South Carolina. Like, I can't remember what Syvelle Newton will probably be the last guy I would say is like the true last dual threat that showed you real capabilities as a quarterback. And I think I truly think Lenora Sellers is above and beyond that, even that talent level as well. So again, the strides he makes is going to tell the entire story for this South Carolina season. Guys like Dylan Stewart on the defensive end, like we said, another impactful freshman that we're hoping can help get our defensive line up to a certain level. Because we all know, like in the SEC, front sevens matter, like just like in the NFL. If you have a front four that can apply pressure, that can consistently get stops in the run game, you have a linebacking core that can play downhill, that can go toe to toe with those SEC linemen and stopping those SEC caliber running backs, you'll have a shot. And I think, like I said, improving the line of scrimmage is always going to be the answer and always the key. And we have key freshmen on the offensive line that we also think can have an impact as well. Like I said, those guys got to get healthy. I know some of those guys were dinged up during the spring. Getting those guys healthy as soon as possible and hopefully getting them through an entire season is going to be critical for us. I mean, there are a lot of question marks, but I like the guys that are in the building. I gotta see if the coaching staff can take this to the next level. And I think we all have the same questions. Like, when are we gonna start to see our coaching staff push this team forward? And I think all the recruiting we're doing, it's good. I think we have receivers that'll be able to contribute because they contribute in other places. But now we're trying to see, like, hey, do we have the right guys in charge? And I think a lot of fans are questioning whether Beam is the right guy. I'm still hopeful for him. I haven't lost faith in him. But we do have to start seeing results, like pen to paper. Like when are we going to start seeing big key wins start to pile up so we can have real hope to move forward with?
Yeah, correct. Because I mean, like you said one time, South Carolina is one of them schools, man. It's just gonna take time. It's just with our schedule and with our schedule and with how we are set up. We just gonna take some time. Steve Spurrier got here. It took him 5 years, I want to say. It was rough. I think 07, we was off to a good start. Then we ended up being the number 2 team, and then we lost 6 games straight.
Hey,
including to the ops. You know what I'm saying?
My 11-year-old self, that's probably the nastiest heartbreak I've had as a football fan, bro. Watching that 07 season go off to a 6-0 start, I'm thinking, hey, fam, Blake Mitchell, Chris Smellby, hey, bro, we finna add it a rocket, bro. We killing. Lose 6 straight. We lost to Vandy that year.
I think that's what started. Is that what started the losing streak, Vandy?
Man, we can fact check. This is a Googleable question, dog. We can go ahead and fact check that.
Like, what started that losing streak, man? I was like, dog, we was off to a great start.
That was the sickest. That was the sickest downtime I've ever seen, bro. Oh my god! So
I want to say